The Legend of Zelda series is generally considered to be a very friendly and approachable game to all, but within this long-running, lore-filled adventure series lies many mysteries. From unexplained details and events like the alien invaders in Majora's Mask, to the blood-filled history of Kakariko Village's dark secrets beneath the ground, all the way to the spine-tingling cutscenes such as the unsettling and chilling interlopers scene in Twilight Princess, Miyaku's heartbreaking death on the shores of the Great Bay in Majora's Mask, and the terrifying and devastating end of the world also in Majora's Mask. It's fair to say that the series has its darker moments and secrets, with one of the most successful and arguably the best game in the series, Ocarina of Time, hiding a substantial amount of dark and terrifying secrets. And with today being Halloween, I thought we'd look into one of the most unsettling and mysterious secrets hidden in the game. Joined by my great friend MaskedNintendoBandit, we are going to look into one of the game's most unsettling and spooky secrets, and everything about the blood-filled event we will be covering. It's not the nightmare-fueled dead hand battles. It's not the dying guard found within Castletown trying to grasp breath after being brutally wounded. It's not the horrific state of Castletown 7 years onwards, and it's not the mystery behind the Lost Woods. Today, me and MaskedNintendoBandit will be looking into, theorizing, and going right into the blood-filled history, horror, and dark truth behind Hyrule Field, and why it's essentially one huge graveyard filled with a bloody history that the royal family may be trying to hide. Without further ado, here is my spooky, scary, and terrifying Halloween special covering the dark truth of Hyrule Field in Ocarina of Time.
To begin uncovering the horrifying truth hidden under the surface of Hyrule Field, we first need to understand the stained history of this iconic location. Although many Zelda games feature large expanses of grassy land within which most of the events of the games take place, Hyrule Field has only made official appearances within the worlds of Breath of the Wild, Twilight Princess, the Minish Cap, and Ocarina of Time. It is through these games that we can uncover some of the blood that has been shed across these hills. Before the events of the game Ocarina of Time, we know that the Kingdom of Hyrule went through an extremely dark period of civil war. The royal family, which the king and his Princess Zelda are a part of, has since the events of Skyward Sword been tasked with the protection of the Sacred Realm and the omnipotent Triforce. However, the Demon King Demise and his monsters are not the only beings to covet this magnificent relic. It is said that common citizens of the land of Hyrule coveted the Triforce and took arms against the royal family themselves, Hylians shedding Hylian blood. Their battle for the power of the gods was waged outside the walls of Hyrule Castle, in the very same Hyrule Field we see in Ocarina of Time. Their violence is described in-game as a fierce war, and undoubtedly results in the deaths and severe injuries of many, including the mother of the hero of Time, who was fatally wounded and did in fact die from her war injuries after being forced to give her baby away to save his life. The royal family defended the Triforce from the murderous multitudes to the best of their abilities, but eventually had to unleash their true secret weapon against the masses, the Shadow People themselves, the Sheikah tribe.
Now that we know some history on Hyrule Field, let's have a look at its current state when Link gets to adventure the once blood-spilled battlefield of a land. Everything seems relatively peaceful. Healthy trees, green grass as far as the eye can see, and even a beautiful little ranch in the heart of the field. The location is a total opposite to its once former state. There is no signs of wear and tear, war or violence, no blood or anything. It appears as any field would, but there are two very important details we can pick up here. Firstly, if we explore the vast, beautiful landmass of Hyrule Field, you'll soon come to realize that there is no signs of a past war at all. I'm not talking about battle scars or remains hidden in the field. I'm talking about memorials, gravestones, and just general acknowledgement of a war. Given the fact that the Hyrulean Civil War was such a major event in the history of the kingdom, arguably one of the biggest, you would like to think they would give it some recognition. After all, the end of the war resulted in the Kingdom of Hyrule uniting into one, a coming together of people, and a sign of peace. So why is there no recognition of that? Have the kingdom, or more importantly, the royal family ignored this historic event? Well, I believe the royal family have a dark secret to hide. A secret that they want to, and technically speaking are, hiding from their own people. The other important detail to note is that when nightfall arrives within Hyrule Field, the Stall Children rise from the dead. We can quickly put two and two together and say that those Stall enemies are the fallen soldiers from the Great War that took place many ages ago. But we will return to why that is important later in the video.
As Hyrule Gamer previously pointed out, it's incredibly odd that the entire land of Hyrule bears no landmarks or memorials for the very recent Civil War, which had to have happened within the past 10 years if we take Link's age as a timeline. Contrasting this with my personal home country, the United States of America, which is a nation that was once torn by a fierce civil war, I know firsthand of the memorials, museums, and graveyards recognizing the people who fought and died in the war on both sides. The fact that Hyrule has apparently wiped away any and all remnants of the war is not only mysterious, it's suspicious. There is a way we can find the answers to these oddities though, and that is to consider the royal family's tactics during the war. As I mentioned before, they used a secret weapon of sorts against their enemies, and that secret weapon was the Sheikah tribe. The truth begins to reveal itself to us as we take into consideration some of the things documented in-game about the Sheikah. In their home village of Kakariko, which is a peaceful village that was once only home to the Sheikah people, much like the Kakariko village of Breath of the Wild, there exist multiple dungeons, the Shadow Temple, and even the more unsettling Bottom of the Well, filled with torture devices and restless spirits. The spirits can even be heard whispering to Link as he traverses through the haunted hallways. They tell him of Hyrule's bloody history, of greed and hatred. Given the recent war, the lack of memorials from the war, the village of Kakariko strangely opening to the public, the spirit's recollection of Hyrule's history of greed of the Triforce and hatred of the royal family, and the various used torture devices inside of the haunted temples, it's entirely plausible that the Sheikah people were used in the war to capture enemies of the royal family and torture them horrendously for information until they met a restless death. The royal family are documented to hold their own Shadow Temple as a taboo topic and never speak of it out loud because of the dark things that knowingly happened there. Their tactic of opening Kakariko to the public after the war was certainly to avert any negative attention towards the Sheikah people or even the royal family themselves for the strange disappearances of Civil War soldiers.
Given all of the evidence found in Ocarina of Time, no recognition of the war within the field which the battles would have primarily took place in, the horrifying torture devices within the Shadow Temple, and even a description found within the Shadow Temple highlighting Hyrule's history, it certainly seems that the Sheikah and royal family have been hiding something. They've been hiding the fact that during and possibly after the Hyrulean Civil War, they brutally tortured, interrogated, and even slaughtered people. Given the fact that it was war, it's not unlikely that they would have captured victims not even directly involved in the battles and took them to these locations to torture them and create bloodbaths in an attempt to win the war. For all we know, these antics and horrible doings could have still been going on behind the scenes up until recently, but that part's purely speculation. Linking back to the Stalfos and Stall Children in Hyrule Field, how did the dead just happen to turn into Stalfos? We do know when Hyruleans, all races of Hyrule, pass away, they don't turn into Stalfos, as we have seen regular graveyards all throughout the series, and Stalfos come from the Lost Woods. Could the trauma of the torturing have caused them to be unable to rest in peace? Could there be a deeper meaning that we don't know anything about? To sort of conclude the video and come to terms with what the dark secret of Hyrule Field is, we can say with confidence that the royal family of Hyrule and Sheikah definitely done some dirty deeds on the battlefield, along with below Kakariko Village. We know they won the Civil War, but there is no signs to show for the history, which is very strange. I believe this is because they are trying to cover up their dark and bloody past. What do you guys think about this chilling tale behind Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field? Let us know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I really hope you enjoyed this frightening tale of a horrifying truth about one of the most loved and adored games in the Zelda series. A huge thank you goes out to MaskedNintendoBandit for joining me in my Halloween special.
Hey, thanks man, it's always a great experience working with you. I'm looking forward to the next one. Speaking of the next one, to everyone watching, be sure to check out your very own Hyrule Gamer and myself in our other video covering the Curse of the Lost Woods that's live right now. Thanks for letting me work with your phenomenal Hyrule Gamer. This is MaskedNintendoBandit signing out. Peace!
So be sure to go check that video out through the link in the description or card in the top right corner. A massive thank you goes out to all of my wonderful and amazing Patreon supporters, as your incredibly generous support really helps me to keep making these videos as often as possible. So special thanks to Hexovian, Leonarco1, K-Tala, Karika, Saphira Sky, Daniel Kilman, Neruslove13, Bargy Doggo, Arlie Quinn, M, Chris Simpson, Andrew and Brett Harris. Your support is very much appreciated. Thank you. Again, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and be sure to have a fun Halloween, stay safe if you're heading out tonight, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.